Hey guys, sitting here today mulling over some thoughts that are going through my head at this point because I received a text from a friend of mine, and I'm going to read it to you just because I think it's worth reading, and I'm going to hit the high points and do it quickly. But first, positive case of chronic wasting disease confirmed in Georgia. Thursday, January 23rd, Georgia Department of Natural Resources has confirmed through USDA's National Veterinary Services Lab that a hunter-harvested deer sample for routine surveillance in Lanier County has tested positive for chronic wasting. This is the first case of CWD taken from Georgia. The sample was taken from a 2.5-year-old male whitetail deer harvested on private property. Immediately following the positive confirmation, WRD staff implemented the CWD response plan and are taking samples from the area. I want to assure our hunters that deer hunting will continue to thrive in Georgia despite this current discovery, said Walter Rabin, Commissioner of Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Working together with our hunters and all Georgians, we will manage CWD and maintain healthy herds. All right, what's being done? DNR CWD response plan is in effect. A management area is established. CWD management area includes the county where the positive sample was found and any county that touches a 5-mile radius around the location of the positive sample. The current CWD management area includes Lanier and Barron counties. But next critical step is to determine the geographic extent and prevalence rate in the management area. How far is it spread? What percent of deer have it? The department will do that with the landowner cooperation through cluster sampling in the immediate area. And it goes on to talk about what CWD is chronic wasting. It's fatal. It was discovered in 1967 in Fort Collins, Colorado. It is since spread to 36 states and 3 Canadian provinces. There's no known transmission of CWD to humans. However, CDC and prevention recommends that hunters harvesting a deer, elk, or moose from the area where it's known to be present have their animal tested for CWD prior to consuming the meat, and do not consume the meat if the animal tests positive. Now, a couple of issues I got with that. One, CWD, like Creutzfeldt-Jacobs, and if y'all are old enough like me that you remember mad cow disease, which is Creutzfeldt-Jacobs, it is a prion disease. It can't be cooked out. It's not like it's a bacteria. You cook it out, the meat's good, and it's good to eat. No, you can't cook it enough to do it. It is twisted prions in that deer's DNA once it's infected with this stuff. Now, transmission, and that's the main thing that's important to us. How does it transmit? Well, it transmits through mouth-to-mouth contact, saliva, blood. So the first thing that comes to my mind is, where are deer going to have mouth-to-mouth contact and exchange saliva? At a bait station, at a corn feeder. That's my first thought. So what is going to happen with baiting, which is now legal in the state of Georgia? And keep in mind, me personally, I don't really like baiting. Now, I do run some feeders, but I do it because all my neighbors do it. So if I don't do it, I'm just out of luck as far as getting deer coming to the property. Even with food plots and as much as we do, if we don't put out a little bit of feed, we don't have deer. So I'm fine with it if they cut baiting across the state of Georgia. Would suit me fine. I'm an old bow hunter. I'm happy with that. But I don't think they will. And I don't think they will because there's too much money involved in baiting in the hunting industry in the state of Georgia. So this brings up other questions. What happens when we kill a deer now? Do you have to mandatory, is it just a matter of time that you have to mandatory take it somewhere to get sampled? I don't want to go through that. I'll ground check it. Game check it. I ground checked it when I was a teenager. Now you game check it. But game check it, you know, I don't mind doing that, but, you know, and seriously, if there's no known human transmission, and I'm not trying to downplay CWD because honestly, I don't know enough about it. Not a scientist, I'm just an observer. But I do know this. I lived through COVID, as did many of us. We were told all types of information that was false. How big of a threat really, and I would love to have your input on this as you watch the video, how big of a threat is CWD? Is it going to wipe out herds? I remember back when it first started, it tested positive in Wisconsin, and they eradicated an entire herd of deer in that particular county. Is that going to happen now? They say it's not, but I don't know. What if you have several positive tests in an area? I don't know. Is it going to spread rapidly throughout the state? Now, from what I hear, it takes like a couple of years for symptoms to show in the deer. All right, and then it takes a couple of more years for the disease to get to a point where it kills the deer. My question is this: how big a threat is this really when the average deer taken in the state of Georgia is less than 6 years old by far? And from what I'm hearing, it takes about 5 years for this to attack a deer to the point that it is no longer able to feed itself and it dies. All right, is there a case for human transmission? If there is, do we still eat deer? I don't know. These are all questions that's going to have to be answered scientifically, and I would love it if we had more direction coming from scientific agencies that tell us specifically. Like right now, I'm in the east central part of the state. I'm a long way from Lanier or Barron County, but that's another question I have. The last known CWD case was in Alabama. It hadn't come in the state of Georgia. This is the first one in the state of Georgia. So how did it get this far east? Has it been present in the herd the whole time? And I will offer this as something, and again, I don't know. I'm going with what I know from people I've talked to, but I talked to a deer manager that runs a deer farm. He's friends with a lady in Wisconsin that has run a big-time deer farm for a number of years. Now, in this big enclosure, she's been CWD positive for the last 30 years, and the herd has pretty much thrived. So I don't know how that happens. Is this overblown, overhyped like so many things, or is it underplayed? I don't know. Is it going to end baiting as we know it? Are we going to have to quit feeding? Will it be food plot only, which again, I'm fine with. But will it be food plot only? Can we no longer supplemental feed? Will we have to take up mineral sites? Is that done? I don't think it will be, because I think money plays too big a role, and at the end of the day, that's what manages everything. So be interesting to see. I would love you guys' input. That's the only reason I did this video, because I don't know enough about it. Maybe you do, and if you do, weigh in on the comments. Let me know what you think. I hunt in Georgia, but maybe you hunt in an area that has been CWD positive for a long time. And if that's the case, please weigh in on the comments and let us know, because I'm anxious about it. I want to know what happened in your area. If you got deer there that are positive, did it wipe out the herd? Is it as bad as something like EHD? Which, and you know, for us that like big antlers, the worst part of EHD is it knocks out the big deer, the old deer. That's one of the first, and that's transmitted by the black midge. And in times of drought, you know, here in the southeast, we usually get enough rain that that's not as big an issue. But I think you guys out west, pretty regular occurrence that you have EHD outbreaks. We have it periodically, but it has to be a severe drought to do it. So weigh in on the comments. Let me know what you think. Is it going to end baiting? Is it going to radically change the way we hunt? Is it going to be a situation where we're scared to eat the meat off deer we harvest? What do we do with this situation other than deal with it as we're told to deal with it? But I want information from people on the ground, people who have lived through it, hunted through it, and dealt with it for some years. So if you guys could weigh in on the comments. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I try to come out with timely stuff. If there's an issue like decline in turkeys, or now having this CWD in deer, I try to at least do a piece on it, talk to some people who know, hopefully, and any information I get, I will put up on the channel. Any information you have, please post it to the channel. Until then, there's no chronic wasting in turkeys, and it's getting that time of year that I'm very excited about turkey season. We're starting to prep it now to get ready for turkey season. Have seen a lot more turkeys than I have in the last couple of years, so I'm looking forward to a big one. Got some news on Mr. Wingbone, Brad Campbell. I'm holding that back until I talk further to Mr. Campbell, but there's an old video, Mr. Wingbone. Look it up. If you want a wingbone call made by a legendary call maker, Brad Campbell, look it up, get his number, give him a call, buy you a call. It's worked for me. And plus, super stand-up guy and one of the true legends of the sport, and has been for a long time. All right, guys, like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Hopefully we got a whole lot of comments and we can go back and forth, because I want to know. See you next time on the Whitetail Cartel. Thank you for watching, and God bless.